Hey guys, thanks for clicking on my video. This is, if you can't tell, this is my first ever video. This is my first ever PC build, and I've been doing a lot of research, watching a lot of videos on YouTube, figure out what it is I wanted to put in my first PC build. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to Jay's 2 Cents, Paul's Hardware, Bit with Kyle, Linus. You guys make tons of videos. I've watched a ton of your videos, and your influence is definitely in the parts that I picked. So what parts did I pick? Let's see. So first off, for the CPU, we've got the Ryzen 7 3700X, and then we're going to put that in this Asus ROG Strix X570E gaming motherboard. For memory, we've got a little bit of an overkill, I know, but they had a sale, and it's hard to not buy 2 sets when they're on sale. So I got two sets of 32 gigabyte DDR4 3600 memory, and this is by G.Skill. It's the Ripjaw 5 series. For a boot drive, we're going to go with this NVMe 1 terabyte drive by Kingston. I believe it's the KC2000, and we have a secondary 2.5 inch drive that's a 4 terabyte drive. For GPU, we're going to use this Asus ROG Strix 2070 Super GPU. Powering all of this, we got a 1200 watt 80 plus gold rated power supply by RaidMax. Actually, when I got this, I was getting the 1000, but they upgraded me to the 1200 free of charge, so that was great. We also have some of these sleeve extensions by Antex that we're going to be using here. I did get this AIO cooler on a Black Friday deal. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or use the Wraithspire cooler that comes with the processor. I'll probably save this because I've got a friend that wants to do a build, and so we might just put it in his build. But how are we going to keep all this stuff cool? We've got 9 fans from Be Quiet, the Shadow Wings 2. So we're going to put 9 fans in this case. This case is the Lee O11 Dynamic. Beautiful case. When I saw this, I knew I wanted to use this case, and so this was actually the first thing I purchased several months ago, and as I started piecing this all together. So I'll have a list of all of these parts in the description below that you guys can see what you want, and click on the links to go find it and buy it if you want. Thanks a lot. We'll get going on building this PC. Alright, here we go. We're going to start by installing the CPU. So we're going to lift this little bar to the side and pull it up. And what we have to do is we have to line up this triangle right here with the triangle on our CPU, which is right in this corner here. That gold triangle, that lines up, and that's how you insert this. So you want to be careful not to touch the pins on the back. So we're going to put it in here and just drop it in. Make sure it's secure, and then we'll just lift your lever back down and pop it under place. Now the CPU is installed. So next we're going to move to our memory. Now, since we have 4 sticks of memory, it doesn't really matter which, I don't know if it matters or not, but these sticks come 2 to a pair, and they're serialized. So I want to match the serialized sticks up like they are, so they're on the same channel. So you just push it in until you hear the click, and then put this next one in. We're lining up the notch in the memory with the notch in the dim slot. Push it down. Okay, there's the first set. Now the second set, we're gonna go put those right in. Okay. There we go. Now all of our memory is installed. Okay, so now I'm going to install the M.2 NVMe drive, which will go right here. So let me remove this top part. On this motherboard, you have to remove the chipset fan. And use one of these too, because then you can have all your screws in here, and it's magnetic, so it's not like they're gonna fly away and move anywhere. And those are very cheap. Get them at Harbor Freight for $1 or less sometimes. So take this heat spreader fan shroud off. Okay. Then we got to remove the heat sink for the M.2 drive. Looks like that's not coming all the way out of there. Probably just will stay on the bracket there, yeah. And then we'll remove that protective, this is thermal paste underneath to help spread the heat from our M.2. So now we need to take this little packet of screws and standoffs that came in our motherboard box. Okay, I'll take one of these, and here, focus in on here. You can see next to where we're going to screw in the standoff, it says 2280. Well, that 2280 is the size of our SSD. This SSD this M.2 2280 PCIe NVMe. So that's how, that 2280 tells you how long it is. So let me get that out. All right, after substantial fighting with the package, we got it off. So now I got to install the standoff, which I forgot to do. I'm just going to hand tighten this down. So there you go. Our standoff's installed. Now we're going to put the NVMe drive in. Slide it into place. Okay. There we go. We'll get our little tiny screw. There we go. Now this label here says right there, warranty void if removed. So you don't want to remove these. They do make them heat transferable, so you don't have to worry about that. So we'll go ahead Get a little peel action here. All right. See, what's good about this is we're gonna reinstall this, and you can see that there's a hole in this shroud right here. That hole is there so that when we install the motherboard into the case, we can get down into secure the, this is where you screw the motherboard into the standoff on the case. So there's one right there, there's one over here, and there's one right there. So this motherboard shroud has a little hole in it, so we can get to that. Now I'm going to clean up all this, and we'll get the case over here and laid down, and we'll install this into the case. Unless actually, that's not what we're going to do. So I'm going to install our cooler. This is the Wraith Spire cooler that came with our CPU. This is a very beefy cooler. It comes pre-applied with thermal paste on the back, so there's no need to worry about installing that. Let's see, how are we gonna put this there? Alright, so what you gotta do is one side latches like this, and then so let's get that. There we go. Okay, we got that in. Now you just take that and latch down. There you go. It's really secure. You can pick up the whole motherboard with it. Now what we're going to do is take our cable, and it's really easy. This plugs right in, right here to the CPU fan heading. There you go. And then we'll take our cable here and push that back so it's out of the way and out of sight. There we go. And our cooler's installed. Now we're going to clean all this up, and we'll get our case over here, get the case installed, and then I could put our chipset cover back on the fan here. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we got the case ready to go. We're going to be installing it here. You can see we've already got standoffs that were pre-installed. Thank you, Liam Lee. So what you want to do is take the motherboard and set it in place. Now, this motherboard comes with an I/O shield already installed, so I didn't need to pre-install. But if you look, I did forget to peel some plastic up. You don't want to install the plastic with your PC, because then if it heats up, then it's going to get nice and melted on there, and nobody would like that. Alright, there we go. Okay, so now I need to find the pack of hardware. That came with the case. Hopefully this is it here. And let's see. There we go. Looks like we've got some cable management stuff. I don't know what that's for exactly. Maybe you guys can mention what this is for. I'll read up on that here shortly. Here's our instruction booklet, and here is all of our screws that we need. Alright, so this is why you want to use your manual. We've got all these little tiny screws. These are the ones that you use for the standoffs. These are for the HDD drives, for the 3.5 inch and also the 2.5 inch drive. This rubber piece is actually, this case you can install 2 power units. And so this block goes in between the 2 power units to provide support, I found out. So there's that. So we're going to go ahead and get this set back in here. Okay, and then go, again, this is where having a magnetic screwdriver really helps. Okay, so we got all the standoffs screwed in. Now we can reinstall our shield. Get it there in place. And then these screws are so tiny. I wish I had an iFixit kit. Alright, so we've got our shroud for the chipset fan back on. So that's nice and protected. Now I'm going to set up all the front panel connectors and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the front HD audio, and you can see one of these is blank. And if you look at the pins down right here, there's one pin missing. So you want to line those up. And then you want to be careful not to bend the pins, because that would not be good. And you just get that nice and snug, secure. Let me make sure that's good. There you go. Plug that in. Here's our USB 3.0. There's a notch on this and there's a notch down here. So you want to line up those notches. Get that plugged in. There you go. Alright, now we've got our power LED. And there's our reset switch and power switches. And they're going to get plugged into here. Let's see. So I'm going to go to the manual for the motherboard. And we're going to find out how they go. And get those plugged in. Okay, so I got all the front panel connectors here for the power switch and the front panel LEDs and everything. And then this is the front panel type C connector. And so that's going to go right in here to that USB type C port. Now I'm going to flip this up and then I'll pull these cables back through so that they are a little bit more out of the way. So the great thing about this case is you don't have a lot of you've got plenty of options to put cables and whatnot so that they come in. Now what we'll do is we'll get all these cleaned up when we cable manage and zip tie them and get them all together. So now what we're going to do is we'll install, let's see, these standoffs here too. You can use these to zip tie cables to those as well, which we will be doing after I run all the power cables. So now let's install the power supply. Now on this motherboard, it has the motherboard power. It's got an 8 and a 4-pin connection. You can see that up here. So you've got your 8-pin plus 4. So unfortunately, my cables that I have, I only have 2 8s, and our graphics card's gonna need those 2 8s. So I'm going to have to use the lovely mustard cables, ketchup and mustard cables that come with this for that other 4-pin connector up here. So this is a semi-modular power supply where they have a lot of these cables, and then several of them you can see are mounted to the power supply. So let me get rid of this. So what we're going to do here, we're actually going to, this is a rubber grommet, goes on the front of this when you mount it. It helps cut down the vibrations. So we'll put that here. flip this over. And we're going to install this with the fan facing out so it can breathe. And they give you different options for screws here. We'll go with these since they're going to be lower profile. Alright, so I've got power cables installed, stuff running through the back. I'll clean up the back later. I've got to get a new 8-pin sleeved connection here that I'll replace out later. So now what we're going to do is install our 2070 Super graphics card. So we're going to remove these two brackets. And we can keep those screws, the brackets, we're just going to take and put in our motherboard box for later. I've already peeled off on the back plate. You got to remove this protective sleeve there, and then you just pretty much put it right down into place. Oh, first off, you got to open up the little latch because that is where it's gonna go. So you set it down in, and when you hear a click, you are good to go. Now I'm going to take these screws, put these in. This is a beefy graphics card, so you want to make sure you screw these back in so that you can get the support that you need and it doesn't sag. You don't get graphics card sag. That's not good. Alright, tighten those down. Okay, and I already ran my two 8-pin connectors out here, so let me go ahead and install those. I want to train these sleeved cables so that they look nice and neat. And I want to turn those combs around so they're all on the same side. But our graphics card is now installed, so now all we've got to do is install our fans, get our SSDs installed, and cable management. We'll take it back from there. Alright, so here it is. We got it all put together. we left you. I needed to finish putting in the fans. I had a little bit of an issue. I've got 9 fans in here, but I only have 6 fan headers on the motherboard. So I had to take a break and get some splitters, which I put in down here at the bottom. We've got some splitters in there, and this little that's the front panel connector for the USB 3.1 USB, and that thing is a pain in the butt to get there. I would suggest that you, before you install your motherboard, you plug in this and all your front panel items before you install the motherboard, and then put the motherboard in and screw it down, because that's what I had to end up doing to get it to go in, and I might have broke a pin off, and so we're gonna have to test the front panel USB to see if they work. But anyways, so I'm short one 8-pin sleeve connector, so I am gonna order another one of those to get that here, and I'll replace that later. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It installed well. Also on the top, if you notice here, like these little things that come with the Be Quiet fans, well, they're rounded, and putting the top on didn't give it much clearance, so I had to go and shave each one of these down so that the top would fit on there well. So, and then let's see, so we'll take a look at the back here. So cable management, I mainly tried to do all I could to keep it in there. I've got 2.5 inch drives in here, my 4 terabyte that I showed, and then I had another 1 terabyte from a previous computer that has my Steam library on it that I transferred that over as well. Power supply's in, everything's connected. I have not powered it up yet, so I wanted to go ahead and got the screen here. See if we can't get this to post, and we'll come right back to that. Alright, so let's see if we get a post here. Gotta turn this on. Oh, we've already got some lights lighting up, so that's good. Okay. I see lights on the graphics card, lights on the motherboard, but I'm wondering if I've got my power button not connected right. So let me try again. Alright, let's try this again. Let's see if I got it correct now. And so we gotta fix the positive and negative on the power switch again. Alright, let's try this again. Let's see. And okay, let's try this again. Okay, we're going to try this again. See if we can get a post. Okay, let's try this again. Mother. Okay, as you can see, I have no motherboard in my computer. Turns out that I couldn't get it to post, and found out that my motherboard actually had a bad DIMM slot. So I sent that motherboard back, and of course the other motherboards I was looking for, I couldn't just get another one right back out to me. So I ended up getting this MSI motherboard. It's the MEG X570 Ace by MSI. And so another rookie mistake that I made is just putting it together before testing it out. I also put my fans in the wrong direction. These are meant to be intake, and then that's supposed to be exhaust. So anyway, so I've switched those around, and now I've got everything over here installed on the new motherboard, and we're going to test it to see if we can get this to work outside of the case. Then we'll put it all in and see if everything works inside the case. So let me just let's just give this a shot. So we got power on, and hey, it's a good sign. And I forgot to plug in my keyboard. But as we wait for that to post, I'll go grab my keyboard. All right. Okay, so it looks like we've got a post here. Hey, alright, so there we go. We're in the BIOS. Let's see if it recognizes our memory. Yep. We've got 4 16 gig sticks of memory. That's recognizing all of those. Okay, I did install our M.2 drive, and that's showing up here as well. Okay, so I'm going to power this down and then install everything back in the case, and we should be good to go. Okay, so here we are. We've got this all done here. I've cable managed as much as I can. I want to tuck this away somewhere, but I guess right there for now is okay. You can see in there kind of it's not too great, but it's all tucked behind this nice cover, and then that will be covered, so I don't have to really worry about that. Got the fans situated correctly. We've got everything installed in here, and we're ready to go. Should be able to fire it up now and get a post. Look at that. All my fans are spinning. Hey, and we have a post, it appears. Okay, well, I'm going to install Windows and then get everything going and I'll leave it from there. So guys, what do you think of my rig? I've got to go through and put it all together. Get some peel action going there. And get the covers on, and I'll shoot some B-roll footage of that. Okay, get some peel action going here.